Welcome back. Well, yes, those are the people who will be joining us on this segment to shed some light on that improved or re-amended electoral bill. We've got Ene Obi, who is the convener, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room and Country Director, Action Aid Nigeria, as well as the Honorable Sam Onugbo, who is a member of the APC. He did sponsor the Climate Change Act. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program today, both of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right. So, Honorable, let me start with you. I'm not sure if you may have heard some of the quote and unquote, the rumblings now, because many thought that this has been fulfilled. In other words, there should be no reason whatsoever. But there are reports which are making the rounds now that some governors are looking at some contentious clauses in that bill. They think that it's a booby trap. So what do you think about that in the first instance?
Well, thank you very much, Chamberlain. Well, what you just talked about is within the realm of speculation. Having done what we've bent over backwards to do, which is to go over the Electoral Act Amendment Bill many times over. I'm even talking about coming from the 8th Assembly till now. I think it would be sad if anybody is still contemplating of how to hold back the nation. Because after nearly 24 years of democratic dispensation, unbroken, for us to be finding it hard to get an electoral act that ensures that we achieve a free, fair, and credible election, it's not something that is encouraging. So I would like to think that it's just within the realm of speculation, and that anyone who is truly patriotic would like to join hands in urging Mr. President to sign the Electoral Act. I'm sure it's been transmitted from what you heard in the news by the bureaucracy of the National Assembly. We would like to join hands in urging Mr. President to sign this and again be on the side of the people. I'm saying this because we have spent so many years, of being described in flowery language, fledgling democracy, nascent democracy, embryo democracy. After nearly 24 years, I think we have grown past that. We should be able to lay solid foundation for elections, since it is the only way through which you recruit or install leadership in a democratic process. So I want to join other Nigerians in urging Mr. President to sign that, because I'm aware that it's been transmitted to him.
All right, let me move to NLB on this one. I mean, the reports also made the rounds yesterday that civil society groups had given the president, I think, 7 days to sign the bill. Well, many think, whoa, is that right? Did that happen in the first place?
That did not happen from Situation Room. Civil society, we have a lot of members of the civil society spread across the country, and there are different bodies. From Civil Society Situation Room, we have not issued that, ultimatum, but we have to agree that the president is also testing the patience of citizens. We agree, we have been urging him, we are tired of calling on him, but again, it's a new year, so let's start it on that premise again. We commend the National Assembly for coming back and going through the bill and passing it again. The president made a promise, in the last interview by channels, that with the consensus issue, inserted, and also options inserted, that he's willing to sign. And so it has gone to him again. We don't have 30 days this time. So is that are we going to be taken for granted again? Because that 30 days in the first place that he stayed with him until it elapsed was really a panicking issue. You know, but they have given him, just like the members of the National Assembly have said, you know, they have given him all he had asked for. And now we have come down to the day count now, to the time he will say again, it is too late. Because he rejected it 3 times or almost 4 times in 2018. And we have to fall back to using the act that has been, you know, that had lasted for God knows when, to the 2015, you know, act. And now we are here. The energy that goes into bills, the energy from the National Assembly, from the subcommittees, from different levels, and then coming down to the House. The National Assembly did not close until almost the end of the year because they waited for the president. And now we are here. We urge him to sign it. Don't test the patience, because we have elected people to serve. To serve, the leadership needs to provide the kind of, you know, confidence to Nigerians. We already have a lot of things guarding on. INEC is the body that is charged with organizing and conducting elections. They are ready to move on. Their timetable is tickling. All of the days that are wasted, you know, again, leads to the preparation, the issues of preparation, and coming down to the time of saying, okay, it is too late now. Is it a gimmicks? Are we playing pranks? That it waited to the end of the year, and now we have started again, and we have a few days left. It's more or less a few days before you say, okay, it's too late, it's 12 months to the election, you know, that is the time, you know, you have to catch up. The first election is February, and we're in February now. A few days, that time will expire. And we are waiting because it's like testing the patience of citizens. The National Assembly has done its own bit. What is the president going? Because the president came up with all of this. The appropriation bill was flustered. He made the comment, yet he signed it. The petroleum bill had so many things. He signed it, and then they went back to the National Assembly to do amendment. And you're saying, you know, there are issues here and there. Could you not have given up that presence getting to the end of the year? And then we move on to new things. The legality question. These are issues that we say, we want to be ruled by the rule of law. We want to be guided by the Constitution of Nigeria. Patriotism means all hands on deck, both the leadership and the citizens. And so I think we're getting very angry, and we need to listen to the terms. Use the power. Use your power as it should be used. You know, the energies that we have lost is not worth it.
Honorable Onubo, let me bring this back to you. You know, that was referred to where we did say that some, which was also reported today as well. Let me read section 84(9)(a), which says, a political party that adopts a consensus candidate shall secure the written consent of all cleared aspirants for the position, indicating their voluntary withdrawal from the race and their endorsement of the consensus candidates. Well, there's B and C, but if I could stop at A, and the reason why they think that this is a booby trap to whittle down the powers and the influence of the governors, who they say in politics is all about your interest first. They think that where you get or adopt a candidate via consensus option, you definitely will have 1 or 2 people who will not be happy. So asking everybody to sign, and then if you don't get everybody to sign, you could resort to court. They think that this may likely be the impediment to some of these things.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. You referred to the governors, the first time and second time the governors. And perhaps as we go down with this interview, you probably refer to them again. See, let me make one point clear. You were a governor for 8 years, at the most. And I see very many of them in the National Assembly who are now joining us to ensure that we secure the political landscape, the electoral landscape, to ensure that you get a level playing field for everyone. So if someone is being excluded, because that's the bottom point, that's the line that we want to eliminate, and you feel that you are being excluded, you have every right, and we provided for it there, that you can take appropriate action, go to the Federal High Court. We've been very careful this time around. And then you cannot stop the election or whatever from holding, but so long as you're able to go to court and explain that, look, you were excluded, unfairly excluded. Chamberlain, let me explain something. I think the laws that we have, they are even probably enough to ensure a credible election. But we know that there are individuals that have the mindset to always either exclude or sabotage others. If you don't have that mindset, so there's nothing to fear. You should be able to allow the system to run. Why are you worried about something that has not even happened? Except if you have something in your mind with which you want to undermine the system. So I would like to urge also the governors to know that you are a governor for 8 years. And after that, you are almost at the mercy of the next man with extra powers. It's happening. It's even happening as we speak. Some who were governors about 4 years, 8 years ago, are now facing the threat from the new helmsmen in their states. So let's have a level playing field for everyone. We put in those provisions because lawmaking and amendment, you look out for things to make for the good of the society. And when we found that there are loopholes, we decided that those loopholes should be plugged. One of the reasons why we have been busy working on the Electoral Act is that the individuals implementing them, the governors, some major stakeholders, and the bureaucrats, party bureaucrats, sometimes they set out from their homes in deciding that XYZ should not participate in this election, and they work towards achieving that. So if we have administrators or governors who have the mindset to allow the system to run smoothly and productively for the good of the people, I don't think we'll be talking about where there is a booby trap and where there's no booby trap when you have not tested the law.
Right.
So I don't think they have anything to fear.
Well, Honorable, for you to appeal to the governors, as you have done, to some would imply that the governors indeed have a lot of influence on the president's assenting to this bill or otherwise. So just how much influence do the governors have on the president's decision this time around?
Well, that's a bit, well, I would not say it's hypothetical, but it's difficult to actually measure. Because I know that Mr. President has said on several occasions that he would like to leave a very good, a solid electoral law in place. And we have assisted him. We've made the ground very smooth for him to be able to achieve that. So it's difficult for me to really state or know how much influence the governors, again, plan to exercise over Mr. President. But I started here by saying that I would like Mr. President to be on the side of Nigerians, to be patriotic, to leave a legacy. Let this be one of his legacies as he prepares to exit in 2023. But to again have any reason whatsoever not to assent to this bill, that will probably not reflect well on his image when he bows out. Therefore, if anybody is actually trying to influence him in a negative way, you should be able to juxtapose such an attempt against the kind of legacy that he would like to leave. And of course, I'd like to see him choose that which is patriotic, that which he helps to install an enduring democratic process. I said before, after nearly 24 years of democratic dispensation, should we still be running around talking about this over and over again? I was there in the 8th Assembly, and I know how many times Mr. President returned the Electoral Amendment Act. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, he did not sign it. So to now know that some people are planning to put on him a patch or an image of someone who does not keep to his promise is something I do not think that Mr. President would like to associate with. I think he's a man of honor and a man of integrity. And he has made a promise to the Nigerian people during the Channel's interview that if these amendments, which he specified, if they were added, that he would sign. He says so.
Well, let me take this to Madam Obi, because yes, there's a lawmaking process, there's the ideal which we're trying to get to, but we cannot take away all of these, what do they call them, politicking, all these undercurrents and the rest. And I just wonder, listening to, the PDP lawmakers speak, listening to Honorable as well, and some other people who have spoken about, this moves by, is it governors or interested parties? Is that something you're taking into consideration as well? Because the governors might tell you that, hey, we also represent the people as much as the lawmakers say they represent the people. So is this something you have factored in as well? And do you think that this will be a major deal breaker going forward?
The governors are to govern the states. Yes, they have NEC meetings, which they come in to meet with the president and so on. Their jurisdiction is at the state level. What are they doing, in terms of delivery at that level? And now, coming to mention, the National Assembly is the one that is charged with making laws. They have done all they can. Both APC members and PDP, they are coming out and said, okay, you want this, let's give it to you. And now they have sent it back to him. This is not something that should even extend beyond this week. And so it's like toying with the lives of Nigerians. There are so many steps that are also not being followed. The National Assembly has done their own, because when you are giving us this bill, who is going to run the bill? That's another side we have to look at. The choice of those who have been put in the commission now calls for question. And so you are going to give us this bill, but you are now putting people with questionable characters into the commission. You had some people that have done fantastically well. We have election in a year from now. We have a couple of elections, of course, in the next, the off-cycle election in the next few months. But you are tying our hands by not passing the law, and then the kind of people you are exiting from INEC. Because while we had the build-up and the kind of credible personality, the people with integrity that we have in the commission today, is because of when someone from the civil society came in, and I remember President Goodluck Jonathan saying that his own, that when he got the name of Jega, he said 3 times the name of Professor Jega came up. And he brought him in, not even knowing him. That is when you are searching. Is a Nigeria, they call to patriotism. The Nigeria that you want to see after you have left. The Nigeria that you ought to be present now. I can hear Honorable, we are talking about, it's not, you want to leave a legacy. A legacy, you are sitting on the seat now. That is when you can use the access, the power that has been given to you. And if you don't use that power appropriately, because there's a lot of wastages going on, wastages of time we should be spending, we should be talking about insecurity in Nigeria. We're not talking about it because we're talking of electoral bill. You are having traditional rulers coming all the way, to the federal capital to come and talk to the president about security when every aspect of the country should be covered by the commander-in-chief of armed forces. And so when you are looking at all of this going back and forth, the credibility, a number of people from the civil society that were brought in to bring in more integrity and also stability to the system are being booted out. And so what are we talking about? There are so many sections that have showed clearly that you cannot appoint somebody who is biased. You cannot appoint somebody who is a card-carrying member or even a party. You need to have some sanity, and that shows, and we look at the body language of the president by who he appoints. And so we are watching that you are not only signing the bill assenting to the bill, but you are also giving us credible people. And I cite the example of the U.S. elections. You had the Georgia, governor who came out clearly, Mr. President, when President Trump went to him. Mr. President, I voted for you, but the people have spoken, and the might is with the people. And so giving them, timely law will help in settling INEC down, in settling everybody down, so that we can focus on those that you are electing. In terms of the appointment of the people, normally, the appointment of electoral commissioners should go to the Council of State. And the reason why it goes to the Council of State is that the former presidents are there, the former attorney generals and so on, and other people, the elder state persons, are able to tell you about the credibility of the people that you are pulling. But right now, what we are saying is the president writes the list, and he takes the list and takes it straight to the National Assembly, which is an aberration, in the first place. So we need to look at the credibility of people that you are bringing in and signing these and not take people for granted. I think why we are on the part of caution, and we say, when the water boils, it goes in different directions. And so you will have calls from different organizations. The citizens are watching. We have voter apathy. And that is something. The Honorable has alluded to the fact that 24 years down the line, there is a bit of a progress, but not much progress. We shouldn't be here debating. After 2018, the president came in 2019, and the bill, we're still debating the bill that has been returned over and over. The errors that they talk about, that there are errors in when it goes into gazetting, there is still a team of those who check the English, check all of the things that we need to do, before it goes into gazetting. So the errors were not something that we can look at. So if he gives us if he assents to the bill in the next 1 week, in the next few days, which we expect him to do so, as he promised, we are holding him again because governance has to do with accountability. We have to be transparent. We have to also know that you are working on this stage once, and when the curtain closes, you are not coming back to the stage. It's not about when you were in the military and now you come back as a civilian president. Now, this is the last time. And a lot of confidence or building is in question here. And we are really watching, and we're watching. We can't take you to we are going into meetings. We have to go into meetings, to take the next line of action because we are really tired.
We'll talk a little more about that when we return in just a moment. Stay with us.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, Madam, you were talking about confidence building the other time, and just before we took the break, the question that comes to mind is how? You know that generally, most of the time, whenever people hear government, there are questions on their minds about the trust level, trust quotient, everything that concerns government. How much confidence do you think, would you say, that this new bill will be able to instill in the electoral process for the people?
I think the electoral bill, what we are talking about is INEC readiness to conduct, organize, and supervise elections. The Constitution has given them enough powers. Now we are looking at the electoral bill. Sign it into law because there is a guideline. There are guidelines, there are timelines that needs to be met. And so we are before that now. A lot of people, even when you go back and look at Anambra election, a lot of voter apathy going on. And we thought we should be progressing from one election to the other. The biometric machines that have come, the beavers that have been introduced, is INEC's preparedness to have more credible elections. And so they are on ground and willing to go fully to the field, and you are holding their hands by the law. The apathy, if the Nigerians know that their votes will count, they will come out en masse. It is important to also act on time. Because the president had turned down the bill so many times, A lot of people, when you take it to the president, they say, oh, it has gone back again. It has come back again. And all. How many things are we saying that is leading to confidence of Nigerians? As we speak, there are so many Nigerians that are in the bush that have been kidnapped. There are so many who are out of their homes. What is the government doing to be able to come back to them? You know, government is about the economy, is about the welfare of the people. That is so cardinal. You know, and then it's about, you know, security. We need to be able to look at the things that we are thinking, the things that are within the tip of your hands. You are leading the people. The building trust itself, people just take it for granted that, okay, oh, those politicians. Are we toying with the lives of people?
The question I'm asking
has effect.
My
and
apologies,
I always say,
madam.
What kind of...
If you don't mind me butting in, just 1 second. The question that I'm asking,
go ahead.
Yeah, the question I'm asking is, how significantly do you think this bill, once Mr. President signs it, will instill confidence in the electoral process by the people? Because just as you said earlier, voter apathy has been on the increase. Less and less people have been coming out to vote. How do you see this bill reversing that in the hearts and minds of the people?
I think this is why we have been clamoring for the bill, that because it contains a lot of things that will lead to credibility of elections and put more confidence in the hearts of the people. And that is to say that it gives INEC its full powers. It has its powers, but this is giving them more confidence for them to be able to do what they're doing. And that's why I am still insisting that it's not only in signing the bills, but bringing in a very, very credible people. And to be very, very careful in terms of those you are letting go now. We had the Professor Ibanu, who was the director of operations, who led the last election in Anambra State, which was so credible. For such people, I will keep, if you are really looking at credibility of elections. So the bill is for us to get ready and make election much more transparent and more credible, as we go in. And it has showed that one election, all the off-cycle elections that are coming, are used as a practice for the bigger election. And so very soon, we are going to FCT next weekend. Very soon we are going to Ekiti and also going to Oshun before the general election. And we have to follow the timeline. And so you are holding the arms of INEC. Timely, assent to the bill will also give them that go ahead to have the budget, approve their budget, give them their money, and let them do the bits that they need to do.
Madam,
give the body that has been empowered, the go ahead to do what. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And for the civil society organizations, we are also looking at going into the field, working and carrying out sensitization for people to go into use the opportunity of the continuous voter registration and register, and also, going on to cast their votes as they should.
Okay. Well, Honorable, one of the questions that comes to mind about this is some of the concerns that you raised earlier concerning the same issue, where you talked about that clause exactly. That first part of it, right on the screen there, talks about the fact that there needs to be written consent. There are those who wonder that perhaps that is one of the concerns that the governors are having. So there are those who say, well, if you ask all aspirants to sign a letter of commitment before, agreeing to this, they may be popular with the people, but not popular with the governor. Do you see some of this and a number of other concerns like that on the part of governors, if it is so, as valid or not?
Well, excuse me. My brother, I've said earlier, and I'm talking based on practical experience, I'm a second-term member of the House of Representatives. And I just said that some governors who are in the Senate now are at the mercy of their successors. So why do you leave a terrain where everyone is afraid of the man who is succeeding him? Well, if we continue to point out this and point out that, do you think we'll be able to sign this bill at the end of the day? I would again go back and urge the governors to allow the bill to go by not influencing Mr. President negatively. Because the other side is with the media. Sometimes I just watch. Even people who abuse the systems, who sabotage the systems, are still being celebrated. It's a source of concern. So I'm using this opportunity to urge you, your colleagues in the media, to look out for individuals who do not want this country to move forward by their conduct. There are very many of them. And like I said, oftentimes it is the governor and with major stakeholders conspiring with the party bureaucrats to say, okay, Chamberlain is not going back. Even when the people want him, even when the people have identified him as an individual that is working for their interest. So the governor's pointing out is those things are loopholes that we have decided must be closed. Why are the governors, some of them have just a year to go, why are they too worried? Why are they too worried? They've gone back and forth on this issue. And now they're being fingered as individuals that have influenced the president negatively in not signing the first bill that was put out there. So I would like to see a situation where all hands are on deck to make this nation move. I started by saying those flowery languages or words with which this democracy was described in 2000, 2003, 2007, fledgling democracy, nascent democracy, embryo democracy. We've grown past that. And still, we are still in a place where we are going back and forth with governor said this and governor said that, and they have a maximum of 8 years. Should the nation now come to a standstill because somebody was made a governor? This is something we should ask ourselves, particularly those of you who are in the media. So let's have a level playing field. Look,
absolutely.
Let me bring out some information here. On March 3rd, I believe, 2020, the national chairman of INEC, we had a retreat in Lagos, because I'm a member of the Electoral Matters Committee in the House. And he put out a lot of things out there as things that they found out in the field, trying to implement the Electoral Act that we are trying to amend now. He talked about us looking at party primaries, that we should find a way to fix that as we amend the Electoral Amendment Bill. It's there in his speech. He talked about pre-election cases. There were 809 of them that they had to contend with before the elections. He talked about how to ensure that the parties have a level playing field for everyone. Some of these things we captured, some other ones we also noted and included based on our experiences as those who are in the field. So it's intended to have a level playing field for everyone. And like I pointed out, I have said, 8 years you have to spend. And within the 8 years, you want to destroy every system. I am one of those who supported, direct primaries, and I'll tell you why. We need a situation where the individuals, democracy is for the people. Let them participate in shortlisting those who are going to serve them. But when they don't participate in shortlisting and people are forced on them, people are imposed on them, at the end of the day, those individuals who are imposed on them do not work for the interest of the majority of the people. Instead, they face their own business. The only thing is, for those of them who fell foul of the law, the EFCC chases them around once or twice, but they are still walking around with their loot. So we have to really install a system that ensures that we move forward.
Right, Honorable, I certainly hope that those new provisions...
a situation where you are still talking about...
In the electoral...
This is not working, this is working for us.
Okay, we have to wind down in a few minutes, but I do hope, certainly, that those concerns about, imposition have been sorted out with the new provisions in the one sent to the president, especially defining what consensus is. But, you know, the point you made earlier on, I imagine that you're not asking the media to put people on trial and then convict them, because that would be the work of the judiciary, which will report from time to time. But, I mean, this is a good challenge, I must confess. And I imagine, as someone who is very vast in the workings of, you know, the political parties, government, would you be willing, you know, to name those people so the media can pick it up from there?
Thank you, my very young man. You know, you're asking such a question. But look, perhaps that's not what this proposal is all about. We live in this country, and you know as much as I know. It's not a question of asking me to sit down here and start naming individuals that you know are out there. All I have said is that we would like to see a situation where the media is a little more detailed, thorough, and a situation where they don't come around to celebrate individuals who got to power through dishonest, fraudulent means. That's what we are saying. Because we've seen situations where individuals, when we are talking about what goes on, where you see a few people get together, they see someone who is popular, someone who is working for the good of the people, but they just get together and conspire and sabotage the individual. Those are the provisions that what we have done are intended to cure. Those little mischiefs here and there. On the other hand,
Honorable, can you be a whistleblower, perhaps?
Those who use foul means, fraudulent means,
right,
either by using money to influence, and then they got to position. And some people were talking about cost, and I don't know which cost is higher. Whether it is the cost that individuals use to get into system by dishonest means and then go out there and wipe out the treasury, or that you spend some cost today and save tomorrow and get people who are ready and prepared to work for you. So it's not a question of coming here to say, name the individuals. I am a legislator. I participate in making laws for the good of the country and not to run around and name individuals.
Well, Honorable, it will certainly do Nigeria a whole lot of good if you and others like you can whistleblow, at least, provide these information, maybe not on air, but behind the scenes, so we can make Nigeria a better nation, because, as I said, that will do Nigeria a lot of good. But let me take this to Madam Obi. I know there are questions about, you know, the appointments of officials, election management officials, I mean, into INEC, and what this might do to the electoral system, especially moving forward into 2023. And maybe I should quickly take Honorable on this one, pardon me, Madam Obi, because he's in the National Assembly and there's a lot of work to do regarding that area. So, Honorable, would you be willing to take up that challenge from Madam Obi regarding those who have been nominated to manage our elections within such a short period? Is that something the National Assembly, perhaps you, are worried about, that perhaps the time is too short, some of those individuals might not be fit for the job? Are you concerned as well?
Well, you know, this thing happens from time to time. It's constitutional. And whoever that is in charge is at liberty, in line with the provisions of the Constitution, to constitute members of the National Commission. Yeah, perhaps we have one or two individuals who have really paid their dues, who are good, who have delivered. Similarly, we also have some other ones. I know of the gentleman who was nominated from my constituency. He has been around. He's worked with INEC for a very long time. He has experience, and I know that once he gets in there, Mr. Okago, he will be able to deliver. So we want changes once in a while so as to be able to perhaps enhance the performance of a system. I know that there's gain in some stability, but it's better that it's matched. Maybe you have a new set of people joining the old ones so as to be able to deliver at the end of the day. Because for someone like Ken Okago, who's been with INEC for this number of years, all his years, he has enough experience, and I'm sure that he'll be able to deliver. So apart from individuals that are clearly partisan in nature, and perhaps it's difficult to tell what they are coming to do, because it's also difficult to predict an individual before he executes his functions. So I am not too worried about that, because I have said something that I would like you to actually.
All right, Honorable.
We have grown. We have.
All right, let's just get a comment from Madam Obi, because we need to wind down now. So, Madam, could you tell you what you talked about, having to resort to your next line of action, maybe if all else fails, if I understand that properly. So do you think that whatever the action is will ensure that this bill becomes an act?
I think the president is the one that is having the pen to assent to the bill. But we are the people. The Constitution spells. We stand, you say, arise, O compatriot. And then you go to, I pledge to Nigeria, my country. If we are all doing the bits that we have to do, the leadership is about citizens. Leadership is about the country. The country is bigger than all of us. It will be there when we are gone. It will be there when the president is gone. The issue of corruption, I think when you are talking about the governors, for example, who rule their states for 8 years, many of them are very, very corrupt. They have cases with the EFCC and ICPC and so on and so forth. But they have made the National Assembly a safe haven for themselves. And so even those who are pressurizing, those who are the governors now, they are seeking, each one of them is seeking to go to the National Assembly, because it has become a protective mechanism for those who lose. The country has given them so much. You do you go into the assembly, you do your leadership at the state level, you get all the allowances and so on and so forth, you get houses, you come to the National Assembly again, you are getting pension, when many Nigerians, more than 100 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. Many more Nigerians are going into poverty, and we are talking of a bill here. We are talking of a corruption, a government. We don't want excuses of the governors.
All right, Madam, incidentally,
influencing the president. The president is the president of Nigeria, and so he needs to go ahead. And we are watching him for because the credibility, the integrity of one man, Professor Jega, that brought him on board with his team.
Okay, we need to go at this point, Madam.
They don't want it to happen. You know.
All right. Incidentally, we'll be talking about the economy as well in just a moment. But we have to thank both of you for coming on. NOB is the convener, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, as well as the country director, Action Aid Nigeria. And we've also had the pleasure of having Honorable Sam Onugbo, who is a member of the APC. You heard him say also a member of that electoral committee where they're considering screening some members for which some controversy is making the rounds. Gentlemen, lady and gentlemen, thank you for coming on today. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.